Shanghai Girls by Lisa C. It is really amazing so far. So, let's get right into it. We are back in Shanghai. Rickshaws clatter past. Beggars squat on the ground, their arms outstretched, their palms open. Barbecued ducks hang in the windows. Street vendors hover over carts, boiling noodles, roasting nuts, frying bean curd. Peddlers sell bok choy and melons from baskets. Farmers have come into the city carrying bundles of live chickens, ducks, and pig parts hanging from poles slung over their shoulders. Women drift past in skin-tight cheongsams. Old men sit on upturned crates, smoking pipes, their hands tucked into their sleeves for warmth. Thick fog drapes itself around our feet, oozing into alleys and dark corners. Red lanterns hang above us, turning everything into an eerie dream. Places everyone. Home vanishes from my mind, and I'm back on the movie set I'm visiting with May and Joy. Bright lights turn on the fake scene. A camera rolls across the floor. A man positions a sound boom overhead. It's September 1941. You should be proud of Joy, May says, brushing a loose strand of hair from my daughter's face. No matter what studio we go to, everyone loves her. Joy sits on her aunt's lap, looking content but alert. She's 3.5 years old and beautiful, just like her aunt, people always say. And what a perfect auntie May is, getting Joy jobs, taking her to movie sets, making sure she has good costumes, and is always in the exact right spot when the director looks for an innocent face on which to focus his. Camera lens. This past year or so, Joy has spent so much time with her auntie that being with me is like spending time with a bowl of rancid milk. I discipline Joy and make her eat her supper, dress properly, and show respect to her grandparents, her uncles, and every other person older than she. May prefers to indulge Joy with treats, kisses, and letting her stay up all night on shoots like this. People have always called me the smart one. Even my father-in-law says so. But what seemed like a good idea a couple of years ago has turned out to be a big mistake. When I said May could take Joy to movie sets, I didn't fully understand that my sister was going to provide my daughter with a different world, which was fun and completely separate from me. When I mentioned this to May, she frowned and shook her head. It's not like that. Come with me and watch what we do. You'll see how good she is and you'll change your mind. But this isn't just about Joy. May wants to show off her importance, and I'm supposed to tell her how proud of her I am. We followed this same pattern since we were children. So today, in the late afternoon, we boarded a bus with neighbors for whom May had also gotten jobs. When we reached the studio, we drove through a gate and straight to the wardrobe department, where women shoved clothes at us with no regard to our sizes. I was handed a filthy jacket and a wrinkled pair of loose trousers. I hadn't worn clothes like these since May and I crept out of China and then languished on Angel Island. When I tried to exchange them, the wardrobe girl said, "You're supposed to look dirty, plenty dirty, understand?" May, who usually plays someone glamorous and naughty, also took a set of pleasant peasant clothes, so we'd be together in the scene. We changed in a big tent with no privacy and no heating. Somehow, although I dressed my daughter every day, her auntie took charge, slipping off Joy's felt jumper and helping Aren't you ashamed, I ask. She looks genuinely confused and hurt. About what? Every single Chinese in this film is portrayed as backward, I answer. We're made to giggle like idiots and show our teeth. They make us pantomime because we're supposed to be stupid, or they make us speak the worst sort of pidgin English. I suppose, but are you telling me this doesn't remind you of Shanghai? She looks at me, hopeful. That's not the point. Don't you have any pride in the Chinese people? I don't know why you have to complain about everything, she replies. Her disappointment is palpable. I brought you here so you could see what Joy and I do. Aren't you proud of us, May? I'm sorry if you can hear my computer. For some reason it's like the fan is really loud, but I need it to be on to record my audio, so hopefully it's not too distracting for your relaxation and all that. Why can't you have a good time? She asks. Why can't you take pleasure in watching Joy and me earn money? I admit we don't make as much as those guys over there. She points to a gaggle of fake rickshaw pullers. I got them a guaranteed $7.50 a day for a week, as long as they keep their heads completely shaved. Not bad. Rickshaw drivers, opium smokers, and prostitutes. Is that what you want people to think we are? If by people you mean lo-fan, what do I care what they think? Because these things are insulting. To whom? They aren't slurs against us, you and me. Besides, this is just part of an evolution for us. Some people, meaning me, I suppose, would rather be unemployed than take a job they feel is beneath them. But a job like this gives us a start, and it's up to us to go from here. So today these men will play rickshaw pullers, and tomorrow they'll own the studio. I ask skeptically. Of course not, she says, finally annoyed. All they want is a speaking role. There's a lot of money in that, Pearl, as you know. Bakwa Tom has been enticing May with a dream of a speaking role for a couple of years now, and it still hasn't happened. Although Joy has already had a few lines on different films, the bag where I keep Joy's earnings has gotten quite fat, and she's still a small child. In the meantime, Joy's auntie yearns to make her own $20 for a line. Any line. By now she'd settle for something as simple as, yes ma'am. If sitting around pretending all night to be a bad woman offers such opportunity, I say rather pointedly, then why haven't you gotten a speaking role? You know why, I've told you 1,000 times. Tom says I'm too beautiful. Every time the director chooses me, the female star shoots me down. She doesn't want my face to fight with hers because I'll win. I know that sounds immodest, but that's what everyone says. The crew finishes positioning people and adding a few more props for the next part of the scene. The film we're working on is a warning movie about the Japanese threat. If the Japanese can invade China and disrupt foreign interests, shouldn't we all be worried? So far, from my perspective, having spent a couple of hours shooting the same street scene over and over, it has little to do with what May and I experienced on our way out of China. But when the director describes the next scene, to us, my stomach tightens. Bombs are going to drop, he explains through a megaphone. They aren't real, but they're going to sound real. Next, the Japs are going to rush into the market. You have to run that way. You, over there. With the cart, tip it over on your way out. Oh, cat coming through. Hello, Rory. Get down. Okay, don't walk on the computer. Wow, everything is going wrong right now. Hopefully I can salvage this video. Hopefully you're seeing this. Okay, she's not being loud. Alright. Okay. She's just gonna sit. Alright, Rory, you're gonna be quiet now, right? Okay. Alright, where was I? Oh god, she's trying to step on my computer. Don't do that. Okay, here we are. You have to run that way. sent back to the makeup tent, where they dab fake blood on our faces and clothes. When we return to the set, some of us are positioned on the ground, legs splayed, clothes twisted, and bloody, eyes unseeing. Now the dead and dying lie around us. As the Japanese soldiers advance, the rest of us are supposed to run and scream. This isn't hard for me. I see the yellow uniforms and hear the stomp of boots. One of instant, I'm thrown back in time to our kitchen in Shanghai when Cook tried to teach us how to make dumplings. It just started out as something fun for May and me to do, and it ended in a terrible fight. Now, all these years later, what was supposed to be an enjoyable outing has turned bitter. When I look at May, I see not just jealousy, but hate. "Let me have this part," she says. I earned it. I think about how she works for Tom Gubbins, but how she doesn't have to stay confined in one of those golden enterprises all day. How she gets to come to sets like these with my daughter and be out of Chinatown and China City for a while. May, if you're going to start in with all your grudges against me, I don't want to hear them. You refuse to see how lucky you are. Don't you know how jealous I am? I can't help it. You have everything. You have a husband who loves you and talks to you. You have a daughter. There. It's getting worried. She said it. My replies comes out of my mouth so fast, I don't have a chance to think about it or stop it. Then why is it that you spend more time with her than I do? As I speak, I'm reminded of the old saying that diseases go in through the mouth. Disasters come out of the mouth, meaning that words can be like bomb themselves. Joy prefers being with me because I hug and kiss her, because I hold her hand, because I let her sit on my lap. May snaps back. That's not the Chinese way to raise a child, touching like that. You didn't believe that when we lived with Mama and Papa, May says. True, but I'm a mother now, and I don't want Joy to grow up to be porcelain with scars. Being hugged by her mother won't cause her to become a loose woman. Don't tell me how to raise my daughter. At the sharp tone in my voice, some of the extras peer at us curiously. You won't let me have anything, but Papa promised that if we agreed to our marriages, I would get to go to Hallowoo. That's not how I remember it, and she's changing the subject, and she's confusing things. This is about Joy, I say, not your silly dreams. Oh, a few minutes ago you were accusing me of embarrassing the Chinese people. Now you're saying it's bad for me, but fine if you and Joy do it. This is a problem for me, and one I don't know how to reconcile in my mind. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Rory, you gotta go. I'm not thinking properly, but I don't think my sister is either. You have everything, May repeats as she begins to weep. I have nothing. Can't you let me have this one thing? Please, please. I shut my mouth and let the heat of my anger burn my skin. I refuse to believe or acknowledge any of her reasons for why she and not I should have this part in the movie, but then I do what I've always done.